who here actually knows what tonight's event is all about? Who already knows? And it's the reason you showed up. Excellent. Excellent. Who hasn't checked to see what we're talking about tonight? I like to see who's shocked. All right. So Ryan, this is just for you. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to turn one single family house, into a monthly $4,000 to $10,000 cash flow. You're going to learn step by step how to capitalize on this remarkable opportunity. You will learn how to generate mega cash flow, how to get twice the fair market rent with long-term, low-impact tenants, and how to get a secure ROI. Hands to the camera if you know you're excited to have this training in your head now. It's like the Matrix. By the time you're done, you will know Kung Fu. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's bring on our speakers. Let's give them a round of applause.
There we go. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. What a great introduction, by the way. Really incredible group right here, because I can see that you guys are, first of all, a lot of you have your cameras on. Those of you who don't have your cameras on, I encourage you to turn them on right now so that we can see your face. One of the things you did really well was say, hand to the cam, hand to the cam, hand to the cam. And so many people participate. I might ask you to hit the chat, though, as we go along. So get ready to chat it up a little bit. There'll be a couple times where we ask for questions to be answered. So please do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully this is going to work. Let's see. We've got it. So that's cool. Just want to make sure that I'm ready to go for you all. So we did a little intro, and Frank and Sherry, I'm going to introduce them to you in just a little bit, and they're going to get to share their story. But what I'd like to do is just begin with this process right here. And as we go along, I know you're going to have questions, but at the end, we'll stay and answer those questions for you. Go ahead and put in the chat if that's okay with you, that we hold the questions till the end. Go ahead and hit it in the chat so I can see it right there. I'm making sure that I can see the chat. Good. Thank you for doing that. Only one of you responded so far, so we need a little more participation than that. Come on now. All right, better. Thank you. I appreciate that. So again, tonight, this subject right here, and it was a great intro. We're going to talk about making money, but 4 homes to freedom. 4 homes to freedom. I'm an old guy. I got a gray beard here, and it didn't just get painted on this afternoon. I earned it. And at 60 years old, I've actually been doing real estate since I was 18 years old. And when I did my first real estate deal, it was all about, well, we needed a place for our business. At 16, I was already a tenant. I was renting a building with my brother for 2 years. We ended up buying our first one at 18. My brother was 20, and that was the beginning of the career. But as you go along, you realize, boy, buying and then flipping, that right there, you get quick cash, you're unemployed, you got to go do it again. And it's getting harder and harder and harder in the market to find a good property, undervalued, to make money on. You realize maybe I should buy it and hold on to it. And I know a lot of you have already figured that out. But when I was 18, it was all about give me the money now. And as we get older, it's about that cash flow, that security that I can bank on it. But $100 a month, $200 a month in positive cash flow in a rental property in Worcester, Massachusetts is not really exciting. That was kind of exciting when I was 18. You know, that would pay for a great weekend. But when you're 60 years old, that doesn't cut it at all. So tonight, you're going to discover how to turn 4 homes into freedom, your financial freedom. So I'm going to go through that. I'm going to give you a lot of information. I've got 3 rules for you. I already talked about the first one. Participate. Turn on your camera. Play all out. Don't just sit on the couch and watch the basketball game in the background there. Pay attention. You know, these guys would not have invited me on here unless there was something really important to share. I love the way you laid it out. You know, you need to find the right mentors. And if they were doing what I'm doing right now, they'd be the ones teaching it to you. But they invited me here to share this with you. And I'm going to share Frank and share with you as well, but participate. The second thing is have fun. You know, as we go along, I might make a joke. Don't be offended if the joke is whatever. The point is, let's have some fun and then take action. You said it really well. If you just get information and you sit on it, you put it on a shelf, you don't do anything with it, there is no reason to even learn in the first place. Take action. What we're going to share with you here tonight is a way that you truly can help other people. So again, I want you to respond in the chat. Is what I'm saying making sense? Go ahead and tell me in the chat it is. Thank you, Divine. I appreciate that. I'm going to wait for all of you to participate. Thank you, Galter, Ryan and Maria and Rich and Stephen and Jessica and Audrey and Rich. Keep going. I know there's more of you out there. If this is this making sense to you, just give me a yes. Thank you, Duncan. Appreciate that. Karen. And it says kill. I don't know who. Oh, maybe it's Keeley. There it is. And Stan and Gerard. See, we're having fun already. I love it. So you're participating, and that's where it's going to begin. So I'm going to start with this. Who is this not for? Well, it's not for lazy people, what I'm about to share with you. It's not for get-rich-quick mercenaries who really don't care about other people. It's not for people who aren't serious about changing the world, not only making themselves money, and it's not for people who don't want to help others. This is really going to be about not just making money, guys, but helping other people as well. And it's not for people that are just talking about it. They're just not interested or willing to do what it takes to be successful. And what's really cool about this group, and I know because I've worked with Duncan before, I know that you guys know that, and I know you understand that. And I understand that you understand, so I'm going to move quickly through this information. And as we do, like I said, you're going to have questions. It's okay. We're going to spend time at the end and do that open Q&A, so you'll have that as well. So here we go. Who is this for? Let's see if we're in the right place, the right group. People are looking for a smarter way to cash flow a property. When I say a smarter way, I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to show you how you can make money on properties that a lot of people, frankly, at this point are just kind of giving away. They're letting somebody else take the deal, and I'll show you how to do that. Short-term rental owners who are looking for stable and secure income. I'm a big Airbnb fan from the business side as well as from the customer side. Probably spend close to 6 figures between myself personally and our company and family because we love Airbnb. We truly do. But I do know a lot of people who are doing Airbnb have also gotten a little bit stumped, a little bit stymied because their community said, you can't, you shouldn't, you won't, or you can do it if it's 30 days, etc. So I'm going to show you how you can stabilize that income, maybe using the same home. And this is for real estate investors looking to repurpose a property. Some of you right now have a property that it's not at its highest and best use. So we're going to show you that if you're looking to potentially repurpose, and for people who want to be in control of your finances and your time. Is this making sense? Are you guys following me? Give me a little heads up in there so I can see it. Yeah, there you go. You can hit it with got it. You can do the hand. You can do the, hit me with a remark and so on and so forth. Good. I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. And people who truly have a desire to do good and do well. That's our company's motto, do good and do well. Do well means make a lot of money, and everybody wants to do that. Doing good means helping other people, leaving the world a better place. And there's a lot of opportunity for us, so I'm going to share with you exactly what you're going to discover, because it's important that you understand why you're listening to me. It's important that you understand what's in it for you. So what you're going to discover is how to cash flow properties in today's competitive market. The average property in Massachusetts, you guys know as well as I, is about 500 grand. In Boston, it's about 675. Now that's according to Zillow, so we'll take that one with a chunk of salt, but you get the point. It's expensive. The average property in America today is right around $300,000. That's hard to cash flow in a competitive market. I'll show you how, and you'll discover how we can turn that all around. Second one is how to get 3 times the income, which will 10x or more the profit from your single family rental. You're also going to discover why right now is the best time in history to be shared housing. And I'm going to explain exactly why and how and why I said exactly that. But this is not just the best time this year, this month in history for doing shared housing. You'll discover that tonight. And I'm going to make a promise to you. Tonight, by the end of this presentation, you're going to learn the 3 smartest ways to make money in real estate using the shared housing formula. That's my promise to you. And at the end, I've got a really special opportunity. I talked to Duncan earlier, and I made a decision with Duncan along the way that I'm not going to have you guys twist my arm. I'm going to give you an incredible opportunity here tonight at the end of this presentation. So I want you to take advantage of it. And I'm going to give an additional special bonus, an entire additional course to the first 10 people that actually take action. So you'll see that at the end, and it's just for you. But what's going on in our world? Things are kind of going crazy. People are worried. They're worried about paying their bills. They're worried about losing control of their finances, their lives in many cases. People are worried about inflation, crippling their buying power. And people are worried about secure and reliable cash flow, eviction moratoriums. For landlords, that's been a horrible thing all across the country. People are worried about future opportunities for themselves and their children. They're worried about not making a difference and leaving a mark in the world. Now, I get that. I understand that. So what's the solution? Well, the Shared Housing Academy and the Shared Housing Formula I'm about to teach you is going to assist you in all of those. So right now, let me give you the facts. There's over 70 million people that are experiencing housing insecurity in our world today. There was somebody in the chat a little bit earlier. You saw the comment there. She was talking about getting evicted by a small landlord, etc. Here's the deal, guys. There's 70 million people. And those come from all different categories, and I'll explain that to you in just a little bit. Now, it's all about being at the right place at the right time. So right now, the right place, the right time, shared housing. Wayne Gretzky, the hockey player, was famously quoted when he was asked, why are you so good? You're not that big, that strong, that fast. Why are you so good? And he said, I go to where the puck is going, not to where it's been. So short sales, REOs, foreclosures were 10 years ago. Mini homes, maxi homes, those mega mansions, all of that was 5, 8 years ago. So the bottom line is things are different today than they ever were before. It's not where we are, it's where we're going that's important. So the shared housing opportunities we're going to talk about is, well, number one, veterans. Right now, there are millions of veterans and many of them need housing. There's an opportunity there. Transition from prison. Look at those 3 young ladies and take a look at them. I don't think any one of us would have looked at them and said, wow, they've been in prison. Now, bottom line, and we'll talk later about this, the reality is there's a lot of people in prison that maybe should never have been there, but you're going to hear some stories in a little bit where some of these people absolutely should not have been there. But nobody's ever going to rent them an apartment or give them a job unless they have the right opportunity. And the shared housing formula provides that opportunity. Students, student housing, I think I would have thought last year everybody would have gotten crushed in student housing. No. Those units were still rented. Many times sooner, faster, and locking it in. Why did those students still go there? Because they still want the college experience. The parents still want them out of the house. So student housing is a shared housing opportunity. Then there's recovery homes of all sorts, whether it be sober homes, whether it be clean and sober homes, whether it be for drugs or alcohol, sober homes, clean and sober homes. Foster kids are aging out of the system. Once they're 18, 19, the parent doesn't get that check anymore from the state. Many of them get booted out. That's a horrible thing, but there's an opportunity to help them too. Golden girls and golden boys. I like to do assisted living, residential assisted living, but there's a lot of seniors that don't need assistance. They just need a place to be. They don't want to be at home alone. They'd rather be with a group of peers their own age. So we call them golden girls and golden boys. Special needs, autism. Every time I do a presentation, somebody always says, Gene, can I use this for my adult son or daughter who's going to outlive me by 10 or 20 years? And the answer is yes, you can. Temporary workers. Corporate housing, shared journeys of any kind. There's people all over the country where shared housing as an opportunity is incredible for them. So now, myths. Let's talk about the myths, because as soon as I said that, your first thought is people under a bridge or in a tent in the park or something like that. No, let's blow up those myths. Number one, it's not a frat house. It's not Animal House. It's not a drug house. It's not a squatter's house. It's not a multi-family house with somebody inviting in their aunt and uncle and the whole bit. It's not that at all. The truth. What is it really? Well, when we talk about the truths, the opportunity for the shared housing speak for themselves. What we're doing is a different formula. Desirable, safe neighborhoods with appreciative residents. Imagine that. I know a lot of us, I've had a lot of single family rentals, and those tenants sometimes a little upset when they're paying you a rent. They pay it late, they try to screw you, and you understand exactly what I'm saying. That doesn't happen here, not with the shared housing formula. With the shared housing formula, they're appreciative. They're thankful because nobody else would have rented to them. Nobody else would have provided the opportunity to them but you. In addition, double or triple the income and true impact investing. The older I get, the more I realize it's not about me. It's not about my family. It's not about me, mine, and whatever. It's about helping other people, leaving a legacy and leaving a mark. How many of you truly want to leave a legacy, leave a mark, and make the world better? In the notes, put I do if that's you. There it is. Gerald, good. Ryan, good. Jessica, keep going because I want to see who else truly wants to leave a mark and a legacy. Thank you, George, Rich. I appreciate you guys participating. So here's the deal. Why? Why do this? Demographics, timing, and it's inevitable. The demographics. Right now, we all understand. You watch the news for 10 minutes, you see exactly what's happening. Inflation is up. Housing, the prices are going up, up, up. Landlords are saying, you know what? They won't even let me evict somebody, so I'm just going to sell the house because prices are so high. So there's all kinds of people being moved out because they're cashing in on their property. So timing right now in the market is incredible. And when I say inevitable, the prices are going up, the costs are going up. So one person or one family in one home, that's getting to be more of a rarity as the time goes on. So the reality is shared housing provides all kinds of solutions for all groups of people. So, what is it that you really want? I'm guessing you want purpose in your life. You want security in your life. And yes, you want money, you want wealth, and I get that. But purpose, security, and wealth. Tonight, we're not going to talk just about making money. Yes, you can make a lot of money, no doubt. but you can help a lot of people. That purpose provides security for you too. So what's going to change this year? That was a question that Jeff Bezos of Amazon was asked. And he thought about it for a moment. He said, a better question would be, what's not going to change? I want you to think about that for a minute. What's going to change this year in 2021? Who would have even imagined 2020 happening? This year, a completely different set of dynamics. By the end of the year, it'll be completely different again. But what's not going to change? There's going to be people that need housing. They're going to need to live in that community. And also, get this, the governments are now collecting more money than ever from all of us that make money and pay taxes to redistribute to all the people that don't have the money. So there's all kinds of government funds available for people in sober homes, clean and sober homes, foster care, veterans, etc. The key is to know how to tap into that. So we're going to talk about that, but it's a crisis for some, and it's an opportunity for the rest of us. It just depends on how you look at things in life, crisis or opportunity. Now I focus on opportunity. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. My first residential real estate was 18, first commercial was 25. I'd had over 20 businesses in the last 40 plus years. I was a professional musician as a teenager, played the drums, little keyboard, sang, wrote songs, all that kind of stuff. In addition, I had a record label, recording studio. I've been a real estate investor. I'm a certified financial planner for over 25 years. I've trained hundreds of thousands of people and mentored thousands and thousands of people all over the world. In addition to that, I've written books and hosted radio shows. There's a couple of the books in the assisted living industry itself, and been married for 35 years to the love of my life. You see Mona right there. We've got 4 incredible kids, 2 grandkids, and 1 on the way. So that's me on a personal level. In addition, I've been speaking on and training other people how to be successful. And now I'm at the point where it's all about a legacy. In that picture on that magazine cover is my family. I've got an incredible family and all the kids work with me. It's not nepotism. They're awesome. My daughter Isabella is the COO. My daughter Victoria, she's the CFO. My son-in-law Garrett was the marketing director. My son Emmanuel is in charge of the support department. And Becca, my daughter-in-law, who's pregnant right now, she is also in operations for one of our companies. Incredible. So it's a family. It's a legacy. The first time I met Robert Kiyosaki, and by the way, just kind of curious, how many of you have ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? If you've ever read it, say yes. One of my faves. Thank you, Divine. Yes, good. Go ahead. If you've ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, go ahead and respond. And for those of you who haven't responded yet, now is your chance. 16 times, somebody said. Wow, Marie, I'm impressed. Jamila, Keely, Karen, good. Yeah, I have too. And the first time I met Robert, he came up to me and he said, hey, you're the assisted living guy. I've got some questions for you. And at that moment, I got to tell you, I was blown away. I said, Robert, you're the purple book guy. You're asking me questions? And he said, yeah, I've got some questions for you. So I consulted with him. He said, I've got a building. His wife, Kim, and himself, they have a building. They're looking at converting it into the assisted living, a group home for the elderly that need assistance. He said, what should I do and where should I do it? And it was a great experience giving that consulting to Robert. And I remember he shared with me the essence of his message. It's get out of the rat race. He's really down on the education system in our country, but it's all about getting out of the rat race. So the first question we talk about getting out of the rat race is, what does that mean? And then what does it take? So what does it mean? Right now, some of you are just on a treadmill. It may be finding a property, fixing the property, flipping the property. Just keep going. Find it, fix it, flip it, keep going. And that treadmill itself is never going to stop until you have enough residual income to cover your bills. So I want you to do this right now. I want you to think for just a moment, how much money do you need on a monthly basis to pay all of your bills? Not pie in the sky, not I've got a jet plane with Grant Cardone. The house, the car, the kids, the food, the fun. Write down right now per month, how much do you need on a monthly basis to pay all of your bills? Go ahead and write that down. Some of you are thinking and calculating. Write down in the notes 6,000. Keep going. That we can do easily. Good. Keep going. 7,000. Great, Patrick. 5,500. 8,500. Keep going. 5,700. 5,000. Oh, this is good. We can solve your problems. Keep going. 3,000. Love it. Just 3,500. Love it. 6,000. Now, here's the deal. None of you went crazy. And I know some of you are like, I need 20 grand a month. And I get that. Perfectly fine. But here's the point. Most of you had 8,500 or less. Most of you are in that 5,000 or 5,500 range. You can do that with one or two of these properties. I'm telling you, four homes to freedom, 4 homes to freedom. But if you truly want to be financially free so you can get out of the rat race and start doing real deals, bigger stuff, you can do that. The next time I got together with Robert, it was at his 70th birthday party. And that is my wife, Mona, photobombing us in the back, by the way. And Robert was asking me questions. And I said to him, hey, you were talking about a project a year ago. How's it going? He said, well, we're still working on it. And thank you for the information. He asked me some more questions, and that was cool. And we caught up about a year and a half later. It was in New Orleans at the New Orleans Investors Conference. And I said, Robert, how's your project going? And he said, great. I just got a loan for $120 million. $120 million to do my project. And all I could think to myself was, my goodness, I'm so glad I'm not competing head to head with Robert Kiyosaki. We live in the same city. We could, but we don't, because what I do is something different. And that's what we're sharing with you. Now, how much can I make? I know that's a question that you've gotten. I've already asked you the question, how much do you need to make? So let's just talk about rentals right now. And again, I did the research before we started. In Massachusetts right now, average real estate is $500,000. And I know it's from soup to nuts. You get it. I get it. But Boston's even more expensive. We're just going to think just for a moment about that Massachusetts home. And some of you are investing in other states, and I get that. But in the U.S. itself, the average right now is $1,740. $1,740 is the average rent that somebody is paying. That $1,740 in rent, I know it's about $2,200 in Massachusetts, $2,500 in Boston, but $1,700 nationwide. Now, if you had an average home, which is about $300,000, put down 20%, finance the rest after principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, your expenses are about $1,500. That leaves $200 a month in positive cash flow. And that makes an assumption. The house is full, it's not vacant. They're not trashing the house. There's not a lot of repairs. And they didn't move out in the middle of the night and take the kitchen with them, so you have a major repair as well. So $200 on an average. Now, if you have apartment buildings, it might be $100 a door, maybe $150 a door. Maybe it's $75 a door, but that's a lot of homes that you would need. And right now, there's a lot of real estate investors that are kind of playing Jenga with their portfolio. This one's not paying rent. That one will next week. And what about this? And what about that? And prices are going up, up, up. And you're wondering, what should I do? It's fragile. And right now, that fragility right there, the biggest challenges you've got is getting enough income to pay the bills for the outgo. If that average house is $1,700 and the rent is $1,740 and the expenses are $1,500, it's a little bit of cash flow. But that's not your numbers. Your numbers are closer to $5,000. Put your 20% down. That's $100,000 right there. After all of your expenses, you are a lot higher. You're closer to $2,700 a month. But the income is about $2,200. So it's really hard to cash flow a property where you are. I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. Because here's the deal. Crowded marketplaces, increased competition, rent and eviction moratoriums are out of control. I never would have thought the governments would say that you can't evict somebody. I mean, I knew they were doing it in some cities in the winter. You can't evict somebody because they'll be cold outside. But to say we're not going to have them pay rent and you can't evict them, that's criminal. But that's what we've been facing. By the way, little secret, insider, when it comes to shared housing, when you do it right, it doesn't matter. It gets paid by the government. And if you want somebody to move out, it can be done very quickly and kindly. We can rehouse them. We'll discuss that. The next one, prices are rising and making cash flow profiting just more difficult, frankly. Tenants are disrespecting you and damaging your property. There's a big attitude out there right now that big bad landlords are big bad capitalists, all green and about the money. I got it. And then this, uncertainty at the right place at the right time. Well, with shared housing, you are at the right place at the right time. Is this making sense? Just go ahead and give me a little comment right there if this is making sense. Either raise a hand or give me a little thumbs up there, a little chat. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. So now, I talked about an average single-family home in America today, $1,700 a month income, $1,500 a month in expenses. Take the same home and apply the shared housing formula. The rent goes from $1,700 to $6,000. Well, Gene, how'd you do that? I'll get you there. And the expenses are going to be a little bit higher because you're going to pay for the utilities and the upkeep on the property. Let's call that $2,500. But the same property that's making you $200 a month now we're talking $3,500 a month or more. Now, the question is, how many of those homes do I need to pay my bills? A lot of you wrote in 5,000, 6,000, 8,000. You're talking 2 or 3 of those homes and you're done. Now, this right here, doing good and doing well, we're going to talk about the money, but I also want you to have a heart, and I want you to be thinking about that. And speaking of having a heart, I'm going to introduce 2 people to you right now and invite them to come on, Frank and Sherry Condelario. So Frank and Sherry, I know that you are there, and I know your camera's on. Now your mic is on too. Hello, how are you doing?
Hey, Gene.
Hi there. Hello, Boston. Honored to be here.
So we met the group earlier, and thank you for having us. We developed a shared housing in Seattle, Washington, one of the most expensive markets in the country, always competitive. By training, I have a doctorate in medicine from a medical school, and I also have a daughter who's struggled with addiction. And so you put my medical background in trying to solve an insolvable problem. And we were introduced really to the wild, wild west of sober living homes. Yeah. And Frank and I had just gotten married when we were probably in year 4 of Kate's homelessness and addiction. And we were looking at this and we said, we've got to do better. We've got to change this.
We understand that there's great medical treatment for addiction, but the missing piece is the housing afterwards. And politicians are realizing that, civic leaders are learning that, because if you can go with medically approved treatment and put people not in the bad part of town, but in a beautiful home that builds your self-esteem without bad elements right outside your door, with neighbors who accept you, because 70% of everyone you meet knows somebody who's struggling with addiction. So they're empathetic. They don't want that crazy house, with the cops coming with the SWAT team. We don't have that. When you drive by one of our Kate's House Foundation houses, you drive by a house with a beautiful lawn, curb appeal, American flag flying. You drive by people where there's no visitors coming and going. And
hey, Frank, I'm going to actually show some of the pictures of your houses in just a bit. But
okay.
Before we do that, though, Frank, what's your background? You were in marketing, right?
34 years. 34 years. It was quite a sexy job. I traveled, did fashion shows in China, New Zealand. I had customers in Spain, board meetings in New York City. It was very, very exciting. Until one day, Gene, I got a phone call from my boss. And he said, Frank, I got good news. I got bad news. Good news is I'm going to give you a year's severance and full benefits. And the bad news, I said, what's the bad news? There I am packing all my stuff out. He says, we're going to lay off much of the company and you're going to be one of them. And I was shocked. I was stunned. And Sherry, I said, Sherry, I just lost my job. What am I going to do?
Yeah. And, I've been in biotechnology for 20 years as a patent counsel and a scientist. And at about the same time, my company went bankrupt. So we went from 2 sexy salaries down to 25% of nothing, a couple of middle-aged people with nothing and a lot of debt. And we had to remake ourselves. But at the same time, we're dealing with Kate's addiction and homelessness. And, when you have, a lot of us have had big life events converge at once. So what we did was what anybody would do when everything fell apart. We went to Las Vegas. And that's what you do. And while we were there, I have to convince we should pawn some stuff.
Yeah, I was saying it might be time to look at that wedding ring to make our next payment.
Yeah, that was such a tough time for you guys. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. I think a lot of times people assume that they're safe and secure when they work for somebody else. And you guys are a true life story where 34 years and it's goodbye. And in your case, Sherry, you've had a lot of experiences with companies that have come and gone. But now there's this transition, and this transition after you pawned a few things right there. And we talked about that. You two, you kind of met, and shortly after you got married. So here's a picture of that.
And it's very important to realize we did meet. I'll make it brief. We're going down an elevator. We met. 2 months later, we got on a dating site. We met. We eloped because once I learned what Sherry did, because I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning in Seattle, Washington, where there's a lot of people living homeless on the street, and I would feed them. I've always had a burning, burning desire, Gene, to serve and make a difference in this world. That's the only way I'm happy. And then when I'm dating Sherry, I go into her apartment, I notice there's a picture of her in Africa serving precious children. And I said, I got to marry that woman. And 5.5 weeks later, we eloped to Kauai.
Now,
Go ahead, Gene.
I want to give this segue, and then I'm going to open it up to you, Sherry, because I want you to really share that story with us, because I want everybody to be very clear. The Shared Housing Academy, we're co-founders of that together. I would not be doing this unless Frank and Sherry were here with their experience, their heart, their expertise. They have literally helped start hundreds and hundreds of homes across the country, but there's a need for tens of thousands of these homes. And the money is wonderful, but the ability to help other people and change lives dramatically is incredible. So what I want to do, Sherry, is I want to go right into, I want you to, Kate's House Foundation was formed because of Kate, your adopted daughter, and the whole story of how you began this process. So not so much about Kate's House, but I want you to share with everybody so they know you and your heart about Kate.
You know, I was a late bloomer and was finishing up my degree in the year 2000. I don't know where you were in 2000, but if you think back a little bit, there was Y2K happening. And it was just kind of a different time. In fact, that was a time when newspapers were showing stories about the orphans of Russia. And my story converged in Moscow, Russia. I was weeks away from getting a doctorate, worked hard for it, had 2 older kids, getting ready to go off to college. And I met this little girl. She was part of a baby boat lift. She was 6 years old at the time, coming over to the US to Seattle for medical care. And her charm, charisma, she looks healthy here, but when I met her, she had come straight out of an orphanage. And I remember thinking when this 6-year-old was running through my house, and she was wearing PJs that were falling off of her, but she was giggling and she was bruised. It's like, I could not let this child go back to that. I was so enamored with her commitment to life and her joy, even though she had come from nothing. And that I told my thesis advisor, I either graduate the next few weeks or you won't see me again, because I'm going to Russia to get that kid. So, fast forward, she had a great life, but she also had addicted parents. And she fell into addiction. You see her here. The guy she's with is actually my son's best friend from 4th grade. You see, Kate had been in and out of my life at this point. She's 23 for now, 7 to 8 years, where she would go to a hospital, she would get treatment. She would go to a recovery home because the hospitals told me this was the best place for her. And they would kick her out. They treated my daughter as a disposable being. In 15 minutes, if she didn't do chores or if she was late, or God forbid she relapsed, they would kick her out. The worst part I found is they would give her medication at the hospitals that helped her depression, helped her PTSD. And the recovery homes all said, you can't have that here. So of course, if you take away the medication that stabilizes you, you fail. In this picture, she had called for help once again. And Jacob decided that I should not go fetch my daughter from a heroin den by myself. And we've cleaned her up and given her coffee. And as we were leaving, I asked her, I said, Kate, I was horrified to think of it. Are you using heroin? And I knew the answer was yes. And so I took her home again. We're in Seattle, meet Kate. Months of hospitalization. She went to a recovery home and all recommended by the hospital. She was run out again, and I didn't see her for a year. But when I did hear from her again, she was in San Diego. And there she is. I had gone online in California, found a recovery home that would take my addicted daughter as she was. And they didn't put her out on the curb when she failed, and they fed her, and they didn't even want my money up front. And I vowed, this is Kate smiling, this is me smiling, single mom. I hadn't felt that way in 10 years. And I vowed there would be a Kate's House in every city of the country. And I didn't know what Kate's House would look like, but I knew that people who needed medication would be on it. People who needed medication for addiction would have it. People would never, ever be put on the curb for any reason. 6 years later, Frank and I have taught the nuts and bolts of how to do this to thousands of people. And there are Kate's houses everywhere, or our model, and they serve veterans, they serve people in recovery, they serve golden people. We get foster kids coming out of the system. We are the king and queen of people who are justice involved, because 20% of people who have used drugs end up in the justice system. And I know, because of Kate and our experience, this little boy, my grandson, would not be here. And he's got the whammy of the genes for addiction, but he's going to be okay. And we're going to go forward, and we need all of you to join us, because we know the secret, how to put together a single family home where people can live in harmony, where they can be accepted, they can live in community, and they can rewrite the story of their own lives.
Thank you, Sherry. Everybody give Sherry a round of applause right there. Hand to the screen, hands together. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Frank. I'm going to have you guys come back a little bit later. Thank you for sharing that right there. And that story itself is the beginning of it all. And there's something that Frank says, and I just love it, that your investments define you. And when we talk about investments and you're helping other people, in this case, people with addictions or justice involved or foster kids or autism or veterans or seniors, whatever it may be, that defines you. You are doing something good. The Shared Housing Academy covers a lot of ground, but right now I'm going to share you the 3 smartest ways to get involved and participate in shared housing. Now, first of all, there's a real estate play. You can own the real estate and lease it to the operator. You don't have anything to do with the business itself. You're just simply the landlord and leasing it to. One of the secrets there, one of the pro tips, is you find that tenant first, and we know exactly how to do that. Now, when I talk about providing real estate for them, here's the benefits for that. Get higher than fair market rent. They're generating a lot of income, and they're able to and willing to pay more money in rent than the average family. They're also not just going to pick up and move to another house. They're going to be there for a long time because they're creating a brand and a reputation. Second reason why you might want to provide real estate for them is it's a long-term, low-impact tenant. These people respect the home. They take care of it. In addition to that, when I say long-term, we'll show you how you can get those government contracts where when one person moves out, the next one moves in, and it's a long-term situation. And the third, little or no maintenance. So you can pass on the maintenance to others. And when I say little or no maintenance and higher than fair market rent with a long-term, low-impact tenant, raise your hand or write me a note if that's kind of the holy grail of rental properties. Go ahead. Yeah, you're catching it. You're catching it. So here, number 2, own the real estate and operate this shared housing home. Now, when I say home, it's a home. It's not a 24/7 business itself. You don't have to have employees there all the time. You're not even visiting them. Right now, Frank and Sherry are in Florida. Their homes are in Seattle, and they're starting homes in Florida, but they can travel anywhere, and they have freedom of time as well as the money that it provides. And number 3, be a private lender or joint venture partner. The key is to know who to work with, who to partner with. So shared housing truly does equal freedom for a lot of people because it covers a lot of ground. Whether it's a real estate play, whether it's a helping somebody else, whether it's the stable income, whether it being farming that property so you're able to pay the bills on it now so that you can sell it at a high appreciated rate later. We're not talking starter homes, 3-bed, 2-bath breeder boxes in the middle of Missouri. These are homes you can do right in the best areas of your city. They were doing it in Seattle. Now, I know that you've got questions, all kinds of questions. What about HOAs? And what about not in my backyard? And all of those sentiments. And what about liability? And what about staffing that you don't need? And what about a license? Do I need one? And I don't have any medical. Deep breath, deep breath. Don't worry. Number 1, most of those things you don't even need or need to worry about. But the things that you do, it's a formula. It's a proven formula. So what's everybody else doing? When I say what's everybody else doing, if we're in a room, and soon you all will be back in a room instead of just online, wholesale, fix and flip, rental homes, apartments, short-term rentals, storage units and mobile home parks and lots and land, those are all kinds of things that people are doing when we talk about what are people doing right now. But when I say shared housing, my guess is if I were to have you raise your hand, very few of you would be raising it. But the vision that we have with the Shared Housing Academy is to truly help these 70 million people with their housing insecurity. And there's some good news too. There's money available to them. But let's start with the opportunity. And I want you to really feel this for a moment. 32 million children used illegal drugs in the last 30 days. When I say used illegal drugs, it might be something innocent, cough syrup, might be something else, a joint, a doobie, where that's now legal in many states. And then that progresses to let's go out to the club and it's ecstasy. Before you know it, it's cocaine or something else. Before you know it, they're off on a different path, and maybe as far as Kate went. I know some of you can relate to this personally, and I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand or share on that, but I'm just curious, how many of you have any kind of experience with your family, loved ones, or friends when it comes to addiction, when it comes to homelessness, when it comes to any of those things at all? Just go ahead and write that in there. Yes, I do, or I have no experience at all. Write that in the chat so I can see it. Yeah, of course. Yes, I do. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people, when we think about it, it could be your own family, it could be somebody close by, a family member, a friend, but it's something that does affect us all. So I'm going to go through some of the stats because I want you to see them. So let's just start with this one right here. The concept of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, 1 in 5 people in prison are incarcerated for a drug offense. It's up to 48% of them are there just for that nonviolent drug offense. So think about that for just a moment. Too much in their pocket at the time they were pulled over for a speeding ticket, 48%. That's a huge, huge number. When we talk about people who are in the justice system, there's 3.7 million people on probation. If somebody has left a prison and now they come back out into the world on probation, I'm guessing you're probably not going to be the one renting them a house or an apartment because you're not trustful of them. Where do they go? What do they do? Many of them really don't have any choices at all. There's huge opportunities there. Then we talk about the veterans, 4.7 million veterans with service-related disabilities. There's millions more veterans, but 4.7 with service-related disabilities. Where do they go? What do they do? Now, those people, those veterans, I respect them so much, and to be able to provide something for them that is helpful to them that nobody else will, they will appreciate you tremendously. PTSD comes in many different forms, and sometimes it leads to other things. Sometimes they just need to be in a clean and sober and controlled environment. Autism. I've met many people. I'm on the board of a charity right now that does nothing other than provide housing for adults with autism who are going to outlive their parents. What a crisis that is for many of them, and what an opportunity it is for you and I. 3.2 million is what it's projected to cost somebody to take care of somebody for a lifetime who has autism. That's a huge, enormous number. Now, most of those people, private insurance is where the money comes from. Medicaid, 31%, uninsured, 11%, other public, 17%. But these are 22 million non-elderly adults, right? So that's the way to say it. They're not 80 years old and assisted living, non-elderly that have disabilities. Just huge opportunity. And those adults with disabilities or autism, whatever it may be, whatever spectrum they're on, 49% will live with their family, but 41% will be in a group home, institutional or otherwise. The opportunity is huge, and it's only growing. To date, poorly run and profit-focused recovery homes have been the norm. And that's what the Shared Housing Academy is all about, committed to changing that. Here's the mission. The Shared Housing Academy's mission is to raise the bar for the industry, providing high-quality homes in great areas while making significant profits for the owner. How many of you would like to be a part of that mission? Go ahead and tell me if you're following me, if this is making sense. Go ahead and put that in the notes so I can see. Good, good. Yeah, thank you. I like that, PJ. Me. Yes, yes. Being part of that mission can also be very, very profitable to you as well. But here's the challenge. In the past, and even right now, just like Frank and Sherry said, it's the wild, wild west. Anybody can get a home, fill it with adults, let them go crazy, and as long as they pay their rent, that's fine. Otherwise, they get kicked out. But right now, there are billions of dollars available by the government, but they're not just giving it to people who are out trying to figure it out on their own with a vacant house, loading it up with strangers. There's an association, and I'm going to explain that to you in a moment, but it's becoming the norm to have accreditation. And if you're not certified, if you're not credible, if you're not doing it to a certain level, you're not going to get those government funds. So that accreditation comes through the NAR, the National Alliance for Recovery Residences. Now, that is all over the country. You can see on that map right there, the ones that are in green are affiliated. The ones that are in blue are coming next. The ones that are in gray will soon after that. But as you take a look around the country, it is truly all over the country. And when we talk about the monies that's available through the government, well, Frank and Sherry have worked directly with legislators right there in Washington state, and then advising people all across the country. As a matter of fact, in Washington state, not only are they certified, they are also the first ones in the entire state to have their homes certified. Now, that is phenomenal, and that is important, because once you're certified, now you're eligible to receive some of those billions of dollars that are coming from the government. So we'll talk about that. So, Gene, how much money can I make? You keep talking about how much money, but I heard heart, I heard helping. Guys, here's the deal. You can make money a lot of different ways, but I want you to get really real. 2021, the world is changing, and it's changing fast. The more you help other people, the more you solve other people's problems, the more money you'll make. So if you just focus on you and how much you've got, you're not going to do as well as if you focus on others. And if this is tickling your heart, something you can see yourself doing, something you can picture yourself doing, well, now let's talk about the money. So we talk about how much do you need? I asked you the number, and a lot of you gave me numbers: 5,500, 6,500, 75, 8,500. Somebody said 3,500 for the house, the car, the kids, the food, the fun. So now, how many of these homes would it take? I'm going to guess that most of you, because nobody said, 10,000 or more per month would be just fine. And across the country, that pretty much works, unless you're in San Jose or Maui, which that would be low income in those markets, but it's a different world there. So $10,000 a month. Well, if you did it with just traditional rental homes, that one rental home at $200 per, how many homes is it going to take? Well, if you're making $200, but you need 10,000, well, you're going to need a lot of homes. You're going to need 50 homes in order to get that 10,000. Now, I don't know if you've ever had the pleasure like I have of having that amount of rental units itself, but that's a lot of stress up here. It's a lot of thinking about what's going on over there. That's a lot of kids and cats and dogs and tenants and collections, and not so much fun. But if you did the shared housing model, how many homes would you need to fund your freedom? That same home, instead of renting it out to the family and making 200, we could use the shared housing model, renting it out for $800, $900, $1,000 per bed, having 8 beds filled in that home, generating $6,000 a month or more. Well, now 4 homes, you've more than paid for it. Like I said, some of you, 2 homes is all you need, but if you had 3 or 4 homes to fund your freedom. So when I talk about $3,000 to $5,000 per home after all of your expenses, how many of those homes do you need to fund your freedom? Go ahead and put that in the chat right now. How many homes would you need if you could make 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 net per home per month? How many homes would you need? Marie says 3. Go ahead. This is your participation time. Divine 1 to 2. Keely said 10 with a lot of smiles on it. I love it. 2 to 3, 2 to 3. So 7, love it. 3. So guys, you can do it. I'm not talking about let's go get a 300 unit apartment complex and let's all syndicate and do it together. I'm not talking about let's go get 50 or 100 single family rental homes or 24 plexes or whatever. We're talking about 2 or 3 of these homes. So what do the numbers look like? This is the first home, that Kate's home, and it was named at Kate's house. Now they name them in colors, but I want you to understand the numbers here so you can see it very clearly. $400,000 was the all-in for the purchase and the rehab of the property. The house doesn't need a whole lot of special things. It doesn't need elevators or chair lifts or extra wide doors or anything like that. So a home and renovation. $80,000, 20% down payment. Let's assume that's what it is. And then the income. 9 people times $800 per person. Not paid by that individual, but paid for through contracts through the state. We'll come back to that. The expenses, in this case, $2,700, a little bit more expensive than the average home, but at $7,200 minus $2,700, that's $4,500 in potential monthly profit. That's their very first home. That's $54,000 a year from just a single family home, just doing things a little bit different. Are you following me? This makes sense? So now, Kate's house too. Kate's house too, this house right here, the monthly income a little bit higher, $7,650. 9 people times $850, a little bit higher. The expenses just a slightly lower, $2,650, $5,000 in potential profit, $60,000 a year. Just those 2 homes alone, Everybody that wrote down, here's what I need per month, is taken care of. Just 2 homes, just 2. Now, it's kind of like Monopoly. If you've ever played the game, you understand the concept. We all start at the same spot. Here's a couple of $100. You pass by, go, you get a couple of hundred more. But if you stop along the way, you land on somebody's home and you pay rent, well, that's where we get in trouble, right? And some of you are saying, well, that's my issue. So you buy the house, you now lease it out to the next person. But the reality is, from 2 homes to 9 homes in a couple of years' time is exactly what Frank and Sherry did. Homes 3 and 4, you see him there. The one on the right is looking at the one on the left in a cul-de-sac, the home across the street. There's an incredible story that goes with that. And then this one right here, this one, a secret was learned. And they're going to share that secret with you during that 3-day training that they're going to do with you. And then home number 6, they discovered another secret. And that secret itself is the one that allows them to turn those homes into not only cash flow machines, but be able to farm them for hundreds of thousands of dollars in future profits. So there's 5 keys to success when you're doing this. 1 is location. 2nd is community. 3rd is certification. The 4th is contracts. And the fifth one, since I know some of you are writing that, location. Where to do it and where not to do it is critically important. The location itself, if it's over the river and through the woods, that doesn't work. You need bus lines, you need places of employment nearby. The community, what community are you going to serve? Because you can not serve everyone, pick one. Those 2 have figured out they want to do the drug, the rehab, as well as the justice involved. And many times those are the same people in that same home. But some of you are saying, no, foster kids, that's where my heart's at. Or single women with kids, or unfortunately abused families. Whatever it may be that your heart is at, you need to choose your community. The 3rd one, if you want that government money, is the certification through the NAR. Frank and Sherry not only have helped with the legislation, Frank inspects these homes, so he knows what he's doing. Sherry and Frank help to write the legislation that is now being rolled out across the country, and billions of dollars are being thrown at it that are available to you if you've done this right. The right location, choose a community so you're focused in, certifications, you can get that money, and then contracts. Those contracts themselves are with those government agencies and NGOs, non-government agencies, that want to have the whole house so they can house those people as needed. And then the 5th one. The 5th one is systems and scaling. This right here is what turns an idea into a multi-million-dollar process that you can scale all over the country. When I say systems, that word system, if I were to break it down and give you an acronym for it, it's save yourself time, energy, and money. I'd rather learn from someone else's experience than mine. Experience is the most expensive tuition at all. And I would rather share with you the experiences that I've had to help you avoid problems and mistakes. So that's what a system is. And scaling it, once you've done 1 and 2 and 3, you can roll it across the country, potentially even internationally, if that's what you'd like to do. So all of these things laid out for you right there, that's what the shared housing formula is all about. There's a secret. Using a 501c3, a nonprofit, to help boost your profits, to be able to accept income and to get those contracts faster and first. Well, that's another secret that we'll share with you during that 3-day training that I'm about to talk about. But before I do that, Frank, Sherry, this picture right here, I love this picture because Michelle and her son right here, the story and where they started. If you wouldn't mind, can you share the story of Michelle and why? And we're going to play a video of her after, but the story is compelling, so please do share.
So Michelle was one of our first residents. When we met her, we heard her life story. She was a 30-something single mom to this beautiful child and a go-getter. I mean, very, very successful, doing great, doing everything. But the anxiety of being a single mom and running a successful office and raising her child on her own was leading to sleepless nights. Michelle went to her doc and said, my life's kind of falling apart. I can't sleep. Anything you can do. And he prescribed the sleeping pill Ambien. Ambien is highly addictive, has unpredictable results, and Michelle unfortunately got addicted. Michelle was driving her son home from school, and she went through a crosswalk and fell asleep. and she killed someone. And her life was shattered, completely shattered. Her son, at that age, lost his mom. When she went to prison, he went to her parents. And Gene, play her story.
Got it.
Hi.
Sorry. Here it is. Almost. It's coming.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm 37 years old. I have been a resident at Kate's house for almost a year and a half now. I moved here the day that I was released from work release. I did 4 years and 5 months in the institution, the women's penitentiary, and I cannot even begin to say how incredibly appreciative I am for Kate's Place and the houses and Frank and Sherry for everything that they've done, not just for me, but for my family and for all the girls that have come after me. For Frank and Sherry and Kate's Place, it's more than just transitional living, clean and sober living, a house for disadvantaged women. It's safety, it's base, it's your castle, it's your home, it's your nest. I'm a grown woman doing my own things, paying my own bills without assistance from anybody else. I'm not living with my family. I'm living in a shared living environment with other women that are also paying rent, so it builds this confidence and this security that, girl, you got this. We get it that you're out here struggling and it's gonna be rough and you're gonna have some times that you need to take, but we got you. Whether you've fallen down and you need to get picked back up, or we just need to give that little push to get you to the next step. Frank and Sherry and Kate's Place have done that the entire time, and without them, I would not be able to attest to the things that I've accomplished today.
Frank and Sherry, you guys have worked with her from the very beginning, but I look at her and I say to myself, there but the grace of God go I. I mean, it could have been any single one of us, and I don't think anybody would have looked at her and said, oh, of course. No. Now, you see all these wonderful people sitting in that room right there, and when I say who wants to be a part of this mission, helping us provide homes and a stable home environment for millions of people across the country, go ahead and tell me, yes, I do want to be a part of that. So yes, I do. Put that in the chat so we can see that very clearly. There it is. I love that. I appreciate that. Because again, I know as hard as you guys work at the Boston RIA right there, it's not just about the money. It's not just about real estate. It's what about you really want, the things you really do want to accomplish and to have. At this point, you got 3 choices. 1, you can do nothing and stay where you're at. Or 2, you can say, hey, I'm going to try this on my own, DIY, and hope that I figure it out before I fail it out. Or 3, join us and the fast track to your success in shared housing. Now, you decide which way you want to go, but I'm going to tell you right now, we know what we're doing. We can share this with you. We've shared it with others. We've taught others. We've supported them. You can absolutely do this in a relatively short period of time, a month, 2 months, maybe 3. But what you're going to learn at that 3-day training is, number 1, how to find the best opportunities in your area. Number 2, the secrets for starting and using a 501c3 for shared housing specifically. In addition to that, how to determine if a property is right for shared housing. Not all properties are right. Location, location, location. And then how to attract investors to get the funding that you need. You said that really well earlier. You never have enough money. You're always needing more. We'll teach you that too. And how to find the right team so you can be a hands-off owner. Frank and Sherry aren't in their homes. They're in their home in Florida while their homes are being operated successfully like a clock. In addition, how to fill the home quickly with those highest paying residents, and how to get those government contracts to pay you steadily. Even if they've paid for the bed and it's not full, you're still getting paid on time like clockwork. And in addition, how to do it all with or without your own capital. There's 7 different ways to fund these projects. In addition to that, you're fast tracked to your first home in 6 months or less. Now, I'm being really conservative there. We've had students come out of the class and a month or 2 later, they've got their first home. So that training itself is going to cover a lot of ground. Number 1, the ultimate location selection formula. Number 2, the hands-off staffing playbook. Number 3, the funding and resources vault. You can never have enough sources for capital. And then the LZH process. The proven LZH process, licensing, zoning, HOAs, exactly how to do it, because I know you have a lot of questions about that stuff. We got you. Been there, done that. And then this one, the fill it fast formula to fill the home quickly. Once you've got it, filling that home quickly is the next goal. Keeping it full. Well, once you're there and you're doing it properly using the shared housing formula, you've got it. And part of the training itself, it's done virtually, is a virtual home tours. These virtual home tours get you behind the scenes so you can see these homes from the inside out, even seeing some of the residents and hearing from them. During the class itself, interviews with residents, interviews with people who used to be residents and are no longer, even coming back to volunteer to help out. All of that is a part of that training itself. So when we talk about the shared housing formula, really what it's all about is providing that financial freedom that you truly do want and getting control of your time. Because right now, if you're spending a lot of time just finding the next deal, that should change. The income should be where it's at. And leaving your legacy. What is the legacy you're leaving and what do you truly want to leave? And then a proven system. We've done it. It's proven. We'll show you so that you can do it too. And then early retirement, whatever that means for you. I retired the first time when I was in my early 30s. And I said, I'm bored. I can't do that. So whatever it means to you, doing what you want with who you want, when you want, if you want, and ultimately helping people and making an impact in the world. That's what the shared housing formula is really all about. So what does it include? The ultimate location selection formula, the hands-off staffing playbook, the fund and resources vault, the proven LZH process, in addition, filling your home fast formula, the behind the scenes virtual tours, that right there altogether, the value is $9,997. Now, you know that we're not going to charge that to you. I already told you up front that those guys already twisted my arm, and I even went further than they were suggesting to give you what we're about to offer to you right now. And I want to be very clear, I'm looking and seeing how many people are on right now. So the offer that I'm going to make is going to be limited to 10. And the reason why we do that is not to penalize you, but to inspire you to take action. Because if you take action, you're going to get a great reward. And if you wait and you hesitate, well, you'll not get the great reward I'm about to give, and you'll pay more. It's just that simple. So if all this did was get you out of the rat race, would it be worth it? Go ahead and write in yes as soon as I get to something that makes sense to you. If all it did, yeah, thank you, Divine. If all it did was provide income and allow you to help other people so you can live your true purpose, would it be worth it? And if all it did was get you involved with something that is outside of yourself, where you're helping others and making the world a better place while you're making a boatload of money, would it be worth it? Yes, 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 and multiple yeses and multiple S's. Well, here's the good news. Number one, for those got you here in the Boston area, and I'm going to give you a special code word and a website in just a moment. It's not 9,997. Your risk-free investment, and I'll explain that in just a moment, is 4,997. But I said to Duncan, I'm going to do something even better. So when I say the 7-day risk-free guarantee, here it is. If you decide that shared housing is not for you for any reason at all in the next 7 days, you get a 100% refund period. So no risk there. 2, and you can keep the bonus I'm going to give to the first 10 people that do take action right here. And by the way, we're going to put that in the chat, the link, and you can click it. It'll take you right there, and you can still hear my voice. You can just go ahead and take care of business. So I'll put that link in there in just a moment. But taking action, to inspire you to do that, number one, the website itself, and Duncan, if you don't mind, because I know you can do this while I'm talking here, just put in that website, the www.sha3day.com. There's going to be a spot, and I'll show that to you in a moment, where you put in the word Boston. I figured that was the easiest thing I could do, all caps, BOSTON. And when you do that, well, it's going to be reduced from 997, not to the 4997, but all the way down to 1997. Now, if you have a partner or spouse, this is a virtual training. I highly encourage you to have them sitting right next to you so they can learn it too. If you have kids, if you have people in your life that you think want to learn about this, have them right next to you. It's not for a viewing party that you set up in the local bar or hotel. That's not it. But I want you to bring your family. I want you to bring your business partner so that you can make a great decision on knowing this is the right thing for you. So that right there, you've got it, the SHA3day.com, and use the code word Boston. Now, again, it includes everything that I've described, and I'm about to give you more. So those of you who are even going there right now, you know that it's down to $1,997. And for those first 10 people, in addition to that, I'm going to give you a bonus. This additional bonus I'm about to give you right here is something that we've done as a sister company that I have called Pitchmasters Academy, where with that academy, we teach people how to raise capital. That Pitchmasters Academy, I'm going to give you access to that as well. But before I give that to you, are you worth investing in? See, nobody's going to do it for you. When they offered you mentorship, if you haven't joined them already, you should. But this right here, this shared housing formula, are you worth investing in? And if all you learn is how to turn one of your rental properties into a $3,500 a month positive cash flow, well, we know that would be worth it. But I'm asking you the question, are you worth investing in? And I want you to answer that. And I want you to be honest. Don't just put yes because I said yes. If you're truly serious and you're saying, yeah, I am worth it, put that in. And I want you to use those words, I am worth it, in the chat right now so we can see it. Because I know some of you are struggling with, well, Gene, I don't know if I can. Well, I know you can. Frank and Sherry know you can. The question is, are you worth it to yourself? Thank you. Thank you, Divine. I am worth it. Now, I didn't see a lot of you write that in there, and there you go. Thank you, Marie. I am worth it. Write that in the chat if you're serious about that. I am worth it. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Jessica. Now, some of you have been listening. You haven't answered any of the questions, and it's really not about answering my questions. It's your question. Are you willing to invest in yourself? Are you willing to do what it takes? Are you worth investing in? Now, if you do, and you are, the first 10 people that do take action, you're going to receive a bonus. The Pitchmasters Academy entire online training itself. And by the way, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank is my partner in this with Matt Scott with 7X Capital. We have helped raise over $500 million for people. In addition to that, we trained over 300,000 people and combined, and most of it's Kevin Harrington, over $5 billion in sales. It's a power team, guys. There's over 20 lessons in there, and you're going to receive access to them all. The entire Pitchmasters Academy online training catalog. We sold them for $2,995. And for you, we're giving it to you tonight, those first 10 people who go to that website as your additional bonus. On top of an $8,000 discount, you're also receiving the entire Pitchmasters Academy online training. So here it is. When you go to that website, SHA3DAY.com, this page is going to come up. We have a training coming up in July. There'll be trainings, 3 more trainings in the year after that. I want you to register for the one that's right there when it comes up. And if you decide to choose another date, perfectly fine. But the next one's coming up is July, the first week, about the 9th, 10th, 11th. So there it is. And you can see down at the bottom where it says, there's the price. I've written it all the way from $997 to $4,997 down to $2,997. And now I'm giving you an additional promo code. You put it in right there. Boston, capital letters, BOSTON, and hit the button that says apply. It's important that you use capital letters and you hit the button that says apply. When you do and you hit the button that apply, it's going to reduce it to $1,997. That's just for you, this group, Boston RIA, and that's just for tonight. And I do it that way because those first 10, that's what's going to take, you're going to take advantage of it, and people always do, because you know it makes sense. You do want to be a part of this, and it just simply makes sense to you. So you've got the code word Boston, you've got the website, SHA3DAY.com. I appreciate you being here tonight, but this isn't about me. It's not about Frank. It's not about Sherry. It's about you. There's 70 million people out there that need your help. And you do want to make profit. You do want to take advantage of real estate. And if this makes sense, you know exactly what to do. Your next step is simple. SHA3DAY.com. It's right there, and it's right in there in the chat. You can simply click on that link, or you can go ahead and paste it, click it, do it. And again, those first 10 are going to receive the entire Pitchmasters Academy. That was something I added in there for you guys. Because I know that raising capital is always important. And that training itself, we just got finished with a lot of that training, the online, and I wanted to give that to you as an additional bonus, an additional gift. So there it is, SHA3DAY.com. Duncan Galter, thank you so much for allowing us to share with you right here. We could stay and answer a few questions for you, but I appreciate very much the opportunity. And those of you who are interested, take advantage of it right now.
Excellent. Let's give Gene a round of applause. Hands to the camera if you gained some massive knowledge in this training. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That means you've been paying attention. Did you take notes? Take copious notes? How many of you, by show of hands, recognize that this is the right deal for you right now? It came at right at the moment that you were looking for an opportunity that would really take you to the next level. Absolutely. I've found that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Who's heard that before?
I have.
Yes.
How true.
It's showing up again in your life. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Here's what I will tell you and what I have learned. The teacher does not teach forever. Eventually, they get tired. Eventually, the program gets retired, just like they are doing. When somebody is willing to teach, take action in that moment. I am a perfect example. I will always teach, but I promise I will not be teaching the low-level trainings that I teach today. I'll be teaching people who are millionaires how to become decamillionaires. And I know Gene's got the same exact philosophy. He wants to level up himself because we learn as we teach. And so at some point, he will be teaching other courses. Is that okay for him to continue on his spiritual journey and aim to reach, bigger clients with bigger problems? So when somebody says to me, well, I'll sign up next time he comes around, the future is not promised. The future is not promised, and his ability to continue doing this beyond. Now, I know the type of person that Gene is, and I get that anybody who signs up today, he will commit to your success because you committed to him. You committed to yourself. You put the money forward. But what I'll tell you is if he doesn't go and pitch this again, if he doesn't go and sell this again, he doesn't have to take on the stress and anxiety of worrying about your success. Does that make sense? Anybody have children that they worry about? Does anybody have parents that are worrying about them right now?
Yeah,
Worried about you most of your life, right? Or most of their lives. This is the curse of the teacher, the curse of the coach, the curse of the mentor, the master. We want you to see do so well, but there's a limit to how long we can do this. You even heard tonight he put a limit on how many people are able to sign up. 10 out of 60 people. It's not a lot. Now, I know what's very interesting about people is that the 10 always stick around to the very end. Yeah, I can see the numbers dropping off. Those are the people who looked at it and said, man, like, this isn't for me. I'm either making way too much money or I don't believe in myself. I don't think I could actually do this system or this program. And the people who stick around to the very end are the people who are saying, yeah, this is for me. And they're counting their pennies and they're counting their credit cards and they're thinking, man, how do I afford this? How do I move into this? How do I get myself to that next level? And what if, and this is the one, if you're thinking it, you're just like I was, what if I'm not ready to do this? What if I'm the variable? What if I'm the one who just, can't seem to pull it off? What if that's me? That's a decision. That's a decision. My brother is closing this Friday. And by the way, I'll brag a little. Is it okay if I tell a story? Is that cool? I talk about my little brother. So my brother has always wanted to get into real estate. I told him no for years. I said, no, you stay in your business. Focus on your baby. Focus on building that. This year, finally this week, he's closing on $1 million deal. $1 million. My deals when I started were 170,000. It was not $1 million deal, right? His first real estate deal is $1 million because he finally called me up and said, hey, what's this mentorship program you're talking about? He decided to go and get somebody who knew what they were doing. And then for the past 6 months, I gave him this high level coaching, which I don't even offer to anybody. This is the sort of stuff that Gene's offering to you right now. I don't offer it. I don't do it. I'm not a coach, but I took my brother on and he's closing with no money out of pocket, using exactly the strategies that Gene teaches, exactly the strategies he's going to teach you in this program. He's closing with no money out of pocket. And we're talking seller financing. He seller financed 8% note on $1 million property. Here's what's cool. You ready for this? The day he closes, he has $500,000 equity.
Ooh.
The day he closes, he has $18,000 of rents coming in. $18,000. Hands to the camera if that would change your life. Learning how to do deals like this. Even if it's not your first deal, who knows they'd commit the next 2 to 3 years to following the Gene's process and what he's teaching you. Just to learn how to do one deal like that. Or even if it was 4 or 5 deals that accumulated up to that kind of income, who knows it'd be worth it. Here's what most people forget. They see the $10,000, and I know it's $5,000, but they see the $10,000 and they think, oh my God, like that's a lot of money. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if I could do it. And they forget that you could earn $10,000 every single month for the rest of your life. If you could just commit to one thing, learn this training, take this training, and do something with it. And you don't have to learn it right away, but you do have to take action in his course immediately so that you don't lose your momentum. By the way, whoever has had this great business idea, great investment idea, great strategy, and then you didn't write it down, you didn't commit to it that moment, and then a year goes by, 2 years goes by, 3 years go by, and one of your friends is a millionaire because they followed it, or somebody you know went and created the thing that you wanted to create. Hands in the camp if you've seen that before. If you've been a victim of your own self-procrastination, your own self-sabotage.
What the fuck is
This is real. I mean, this is real stuff. We all face these demons. I went to a training course 5 times before I spent my first $10,000. Same course. I was fortunate enough that the trainers were coming back over and over during this time. Guess what? They don't do that course anymore. I've wanted to send all of my mentorship students to that course for the last 2 years. It does not exist anymore. It's gone. I can't provide that value to them now. I can't move them the way it moved me. Now I do what I do, right? But that course was special. And I think what Gene has today is special. Hands to the camera if you agree that this could be the one thing if you're willing to commit to it. Yes. Successful people are not different from you. They've just done one thing. They've made a decision to be successful. And they do whatever it takes, as long as it's moral, ethical, and legal. They do whatever it takes every single day to become somebody who can earn $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. Me and my business partner are taking $75,000 a month. $75,000. And we have a goal to hit, $100,000 by the end of the year. Just because we set the goal, we're pushing towards it. Just because we set the goal, we committed to each other, we said, let's do it. Not because we need the money. I assure you, nobody needs that kind of money, right? Hands to the camp, it's silly money. You don't need it. Just because we know we're capable of more. If you're earning 20,000 right now, 40,000 right now, 50,000 right now, and you know you want to earn 100, or you want to earn 200, or you want to quit your job and you want to move into something that you really love, it's passion, you get passionate about it. This could be the opportunity. This could be that one shot. So if you have any questions, I want to open it up to Gene. I've seen so many successful people or potentially successful people not go and take action. That's why I share.
Thank you.
I am not a hard pitch guy. When I see a good product and I see people who are really, really capable, especially the conversations we had earlier before all of this, knowing that you're here, knowing that you stayed on, it's that belief in yourself. Millionaires are not made because they got lucky. Millionaires, self-made millionaires are made because they decided to become a millionaire. They decided they were worth it. They decided their family was worth it. They decided that they could improve their community. They looked around, they saw nobody doing it. And they said, you know what? This is a need. There's a demand. Why not me? Write this down. Write this down on a new sheet of paper. Remember I told you big things that are really important, write them down on a new sheet of paper. Why not me? Write that down. I say it to myself every day. When I think about building $1 billion company that's going to impact the world, I say, why not me? If Elon can build a $1 trillion company, why couldn't I just build a $1 million real estate empire that improves the world, gives people good quality, safe, clean housing? Why not you? Hands to the camera if you get that. You could be that person. All it takes is one decision that you make. By the way, this is the secret. New page. Make the decision every day. That decision is not made one time. It's made every single day. You decided it, and then you reaffirm it every single day that you will be successful. Why not you? You can do this. Doesn't take special people. It takes committed people. Who here's read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich? Heard of it? No, you should read it. Yes. Burning desire. That's all he's talking about. A burning desire. It is a commitment, a decision. Every single day you say, I want to do this. And by the way, I don't always want to do it. I wake up many days where I don't want to jump on the Zoom calls. I wake up many days where I don't want to call the lenders or raise capital or go and hunt for properties or talk to my wholesalers or my agents. I wake up many days that I don't want to. But because I scheduled it, I wake up and I do it every day. Does that make sense? I committed to other people and they hold me accountable. So even if I'm not feeling it, like tonight, I just did 3 back-to-back Zooms for 2 hours before this training. And I was right before this training thinking, man, I can't believe I'm about to do this. And then as soon as the camera comes on, I'm committed to you. Does that make sense? Like you see my energy is at a high level no matter when you see me, because I care more about your success than you could ever know. And I genuinely believe that Frank shared. Look at them. Look at the face. That's intensity. That's intensity in their eyes. That's commitment. Commitment to other people's success. Committed to your success. So I am done ranting. I want you to make the right move, and the right move is usually action. Speed to action is speed to success. Even if it's the wrong action, you'll get there faster. You'll now know a strategy you could teach somebody else, or say, hey, this didn't work for me, maybe it works for you. Speed to the next action. Knock these things down. Get through them. Learn them. Do them. Teach them. Learn them. Do them. Teach it. Learn it. Do it. Teach it. It's been my philosophy. That's why I'm now teaching. I learned it. I did it. And now I teach it. Hands to the camera if you think you could do this. Hell yeah. Questions for Gene? Let's drop them in the chat, or you can just unmute your mic
and Frank and Sherry, because really they're the ones who are going to be doing the instruction itself. And again, I thank you so much. Those are awesome words of encouragement. Do type those in there and we'll make it happen. And a lot of you have been messaging me and I've been responding back to you. I appreciate that. So all good, all good.
Excellent. I got a couple questions. It looks like Daniel Sanders. Do you have an outline of the course? Is it online? How many permitted to sit in? What is the total time involved?
So and I'll answer those, and then Frank and Sherry, you guys can put in anything you want there. But first of all, it is online because it's a live online presentation. We don't have a pre-recorded one because new updates are coming in all the time. So you're going to attend it live online. That's one. Two, it's partner's spouse. I don't want you to let's have a watching party and put it on an 80-inch TV or something. That's not what it's for. But if you have a partner, a spouse, business partner of some kind, family member, kids, please invite them to come and learn this alongside with you right there. And I think the other ones I answered inside as well.
Excellent.
Cool. Well, it looks like we got all the questions that are there, so I don't want to drag it out. I know Frank and Sherry, thank you so much for being on and sharing with us right here. For those of you who haven't taken action yet, you know exactly what to do. I'm going to put it up one last time so you've got it here. Go to www.sha3day.com. Put in the code word Boston, all caps, BOSTON. Hit the apply. Massive discount. And again, our free gift to you, the entire Pitchmasters Academy online catalog is given to you as an additional gift. I don't know how many people have registered already, but I want to welcome those of you who did to the family. Those of you who haven't yet, make it happen right now. And I appreciate you right there. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for spending your time with us tonight, for learning, for your growth, for your desire to get to the next level. Let's give a round of applause to Gene and his team, Frank and Sherry. They have committed their night to us. Remember, these are very successful people. Their time is extremely valuable. So with big hearts, I also want to say thank you to Duncan Weirman, to Kelly and her daughter, Hannah. And I believe Sarah Abrams also on the call. Let's give them a round of applause. Every single month, they're committed to your success, to bring on the right speakers, to get you to the next level. Remember, we can't help if you don't ask questions. So you know how to find me on Facebook. Shoot me a message if there's any questions you have about the speakers tonight, how to get access to them. If you forgot to write down the links, which, by the way, shame on you. If you forgot to write down the links, shoot me a text. I'll make sure I can send them over to you. And if you have any suggestions or questions or speakers you'd like to see on the Boston RIA, send me a message on Facebook, and I'll make sure that Duncan is made aware of the tactics, strategies, things that you're missing. Any way that we can add value, we want to continue to do that. Any ideas that you have for us that would really move you forward, just let us know. We're very open to improving your success, and we understand these are changing times. We want to make sure we're delivering in whatever mediums work for you. Hands to the camera if that is cool. Excellent. Well, then, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your night. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always invest with the Boston RIA.